Look closely at this rusted ship. It sits completely isolated in a scorched desert, hundreds of miles from any ocean. If you stood in this exact spot just 60 years ago, you would be submerged under 50 feet of rushing, cold water, surrounded by millions of fish. This is the Aral Sea in Uzbekistan, or rather, what is left of it. It is widely considered the single worst man-made ecological disaster in human history. When this colossal sea evaporated, it left behind the Aralkum Desert, 15,000 square miles of toxic, salt-encrusted wasteland that unleashes deadly dust storms across Central Asia every single year. But if you look at satellite imagery of this dead zone today, something impossible is happening. A massive, vibrant green stripe is slowly eating away at the white desert. Scientists are currently executing one of the most ambitious terraforming projects on Earth. They aren't trying to bring the water back. Instead, they are planting a massive, resilient Aralkum forest directly on the floor of this dead sea. If you love deep dives into the Earth's most extreme geographic mysteries and want to see how science is fighting back, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. We track the planet's greatest environmental miracles every single week, and you won't want to miss our upcoming investigations. Today, we are diving deep into the story of how an army of scientists, millions of mutant trees, and a race against time are attempting to fix the unfixable. To understand how they are pulling off this scientific miracle, we first have to travel back to the exact year the water began to die. The year was 1959. Under the direction of Soviet leader Nikita Khrushchev, the Soviet Union launched an aggressive economic plan. They wanted to turn the arid steppes of Central Asia into the world's leading exporter of cotton, which they called white gold. But cotton is an incredibly thirsty crop. To fuel this agricultural empire, Soviet engineers undertook a monumental task. They diverted the Amu Darya and the Sir Darya, the two mighty rivers that had fed the Aral Sea for millennia. They dug over 20,000 miles of canals, directing the water away from the sea and onto millions of acres of cotton fields. At first, the plan was a massive success. The Soviet Union became the world's second largest exporter of cotton, but the cost was catastrophic. By 1960, the Aral Sea, which was once the fourth largest inland body of water in the world, spanning over 26,000 square miles, roughly the size of West Virginia, began to shrink at an alarming rate. By 1997, the sea had shriveled to just 10% of its original size. The thriving port city of Moynak in Uzbekistan, which once employed over 10,000 fishermen and produced millions of cans of fish annually, suddenly found itself landlocked. Today, the former harbor is a graveyard of abandoned ships, sitting over 90 miles away from the remaining water. But the physical disappearance of the water was only the beginning of the nightmare. As the water evaporated under the scorching sun, it left behind a thick, toxic crust on the seabed. For decades, the cotton fields upstream had been heavily treated with highly toxic pesticides, including DDT, along with synthetic fertilizers and industrial waste. All of these chemicals had washed down the rivers and settled at the bottom of the Aral Sea. With the water gone, this toxic cocktail was exposed to the open air. The wind did the rest. Every year, powerful desert winds whip up over 75 million metric tons of this toxic, salty dust from the dry seabed, carrying it into the atmosphere. These aren't ordinary dust storms. They are highly toxic chemical clouds. The dust contains sodium chloride, sodium sulfate, and pesticide residues. The consequences for the local population in the region of Karakalpakstan have been devastating. Throat cancer rates skyrocketed to 25 times the global average. Tuberculosis, respiratory diseases, and birth defects became tragically common. Even worse, these storms are global. Scientists have detected toxic salt from the Aral Sea as far away as the glaciers of the Himalayas, the forests of Norway, and even in the blood of penguins in Antarctica. For decades, the world watched in horror, believing the Aral Sea was a permanent monument to human arrogance. The damage seemed completely irreversible. But in the early 2000s, a small group of determined scientists proposed a radical, almost crazy idea. If they couldn't bring the water back, they would have to conquer the desert with life. Enter Dr. Zinovy Novitsky, a leading scientist at the Forestry Research Institute of Uzbekistan. Dr. Novitsky has dedicated nearly his entire professional life to solving the mystery of the Aral Sea. He knew that trying to refill the sea was a geopolitical and economic impossibility. The rivers were still desperately needed to support the lives of millions of people in Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, and Tajikistan. But Dr. Novitsky realized something profound. If you can't cover the toxic soil with water, you must lock it down with roots. The goal was to build a massive biological shield across the seabed to stop the dust storms at their source. But how do you grow a forest in one of the most hostile environments on the planet? The Aralkum Desert experiences extreme temperature swings. In the summer, the ground surface bakes at a blistering 140 degrees Fahrenheit. In the winter, freezing winds from Siberia drag temperatures down to minus 40 degrees Fahrenheit. Rain is almost non-existent, averaging less than 4 inches per year. Even worse, the soil is incredibly salty and packed with toxic chemicals. To survive here, Dr. Novitsky needed a botanical miracle, and he found it in a plant called the Saxaul tree. The Saxaul tree, or Haloxylon amidendron, is a bizarre, prehistoric-looking shrub native to the deserts of Central Asia. To survive the extreme dryness, the Saxaul has evolved to be incredibly efficient. It doesn't have traditional leaves, which would lose precious moisture through transpiration. Instead, its green, succulent-like branches perform photosynthesis directly. But its true magic lies beneath the soil. When a Saxaul seed germinates, it immediately shoots a massive taproot straight down into the earth. This root can tunnel over 30 feet deep to reach hidden, subterranean moisture reserves that other plants could never access. At the same time, its lateral roots spread out wide, anchoring the loose sand. A single mature Saxaul tree can bind and stabilize up to 4 tons of sand and toxic dust around its root system. It acts like biological concrete. If you plant enough of them, their roots interlock, creating an unbreakable underground net that pins the toxic seabed to the earth, preventing the wind from lifting it into the air. But there was a catch. The soil of the dry bed is not uniform. And that is when the science got incredibly complicated. As Dr. Novitsky's team quickly discovered, the Aralkum Desert is divided into different zones. Some areas are covered in loose sand dunes, while others are covered in a hard, salty clay crust known as solonchak. Saxaul trees thrive in sandy conditions, but their roots cannot easily penetrate the dense, oxygen-deprived solonchak clay. To overcome this, Dr. Novitsky pioneered a method of preparing the soil. They used heavy tractors to plow deep, wide trenches into the clay. These trenches served 2 vital purposes. They broke up the hard crust, allowing the roots to breathe, and they acted as natural funnels that collected the tiny amount of rainwater and snowmelt that fell during the year. If you are amazed by how these scientists are using nature to heal the earth, take a quick second to follow our channel. By subscribing, you help us bring more of these incredible, untold scientific stories to light, giving us the resources to research deeper and show the world that hope is never lost. With the science proven in small test plots, the next major hurdle was scale. Planting a few thousand trees was easy, but to stop the global toxic dust storms, they needed to plant millions of acres. And to do that, they had to launch a massive, military-style winter offensive. In December 2018, the president of Uzbekistan, Shavkat Mirziyoyev, declared the afforestation of the Aralkum Desert a top national priority. The government mobilized unprecedented resources, launching a massive, coordinated campaign to plant a forest the size of a small country. But why start in December? Why plant a forest in the dead of winter? The answer lies in the delicate balance of desert survival. If you plant Saxaul saplings in the spring or summer, the intense heat and dry air will evaporate their moisture before their roots can reach the deep water table. By planting between December and March, the saplings are dormant. The winter snows cover the trenches, providing a steady, slow-release supply of moisture that keeps the roots hydrated. When spring finally arrives, the sapling is already anchored and ready to grow. The scale of this winter mobilization was breathtaking. Every winter since 2018, over 500 tractors, bulldozers, and specialized planting machines have been deployed to the dry seabed. Thousands of local workers, forestry experts, and volunteers braved the biting Siberian winds, working in shifts to plant millions of saplings. They established temporary camps in the middle of the empty desert, living in insulated trailers for months at a time. At the peak of the campaign, they were planting up to 40,000 acres every single day. But even with hundreds of tractors, the sheer vastness of the 15 million acre desert was too much to cover by hand. So, the government turned to the sky. They brought in a fleet of rugged, Soviet-era Antonov An-2 biplanes. These planes were loaded with tons of Saxaul seeds, which had been carefully harvested by hand from mature wild trees during the autumn. Flying just 100 feet above the desert floor, these planes carpet-seeded vast, inaccessible stretches of the seabed. To ensure the seeds didn't just blow away in the wind, they were pre-treated with a special clay and nutrient mixture that weighed them down and provided vital nutrients the moment they sprouted. Between 2018 and 2026, this combined air and ground assault achieved mind-boggling numbers. They successfully planted over 1.62 million hectares of forest. That is over 4 million acres, an area larger than the entire state of Connecticut, completely covered in green vegetation. It is officially one of the largest and fastest landscape restoration projects in human history. But did this massive, expensive winter offensive actually work? Or was it just a temporary band-aid on a terminally ill ecosystem? The results have defied the expectations of even the most optimistic scientists. Where there was once a toxic, blinding white wasteland of salt and dust, there is now a thriving, resilient ecosystem. The Saxaul trees have grown rapidly, some reaching heights of 10 to 15 feet, and they are doing exactly what they were designed to do. The extensive root networks have successfully anchored the loose desert floor. According to environmental monitoring stations, the frequency of toxic dust storms originating from the Uzbek portion of the Aralkum desert has decreased by over 30%. But the miracle didn't stop at just stopping the dust. The forest is actively changing the local climate. As the Saxaul trees grow, they shed their fleshy green stems, creating a layer of organic leaf litter on the desert floor. This decaying organic matter mixed with the sand, slowly transforming the sterile, toxic seabed into fertile soil. This new soil began to capture and hold moisture from the air, allowing other native plants, like saltwort, wormwood, and wild grasses, to naturally colonize the area. With the plants came the animals. Insects returned to pollinate the flowers. The insects attracted birds, which began nesting in the branches of the Saxaul trees. Today, ecological surveys have documented the return of foxes, hares, wild boars, and even the critically endangered saiga antelope, which now uses the Aralkum forest as a safe migration corridor. The air is cleaner, the ground is cooler, and the local people are finally beginning to breathe easy again. We cannot easily undo the past. The original Aral Sea, with its billions of gallons of blue water and bustling fishing ports, may never fully return in our lifetime. The decisions made in the mid-20th century permanently altered the geography of our planet. But the Aralkum forest is a powerful, living reminder of human resilience. It proves that we are not helpless in the face of ecological collapse. When we combine rigorous science, local determination, and massive cooperation, we can heal even the deepest wounds we've inflicted on our Earth. If this story inspired you, please give this video a thumbs up and share it with someone who needs a little bit of environmental hope today. And if you want to see another mind-blowing mega project where humans are fighting back against the desert, click the video on your screen right now to learn about Africa's massive Great Green Wall project. Thank you for watching, keep exploring, and we will see you in the next expedition.